I was coming to Mexico City for a vacation, but I'm a bit of a workaholic, which is not good. So we were on vacation, but I wanted to learn to box in Mexico, and I wanted to record music and everything else. I don't know where the affinity for Mexico came from. The first thing I did was I asked someone to buy a Union Jack and a Mexican flag, and I put them up on both sides of the studio, and that was the kind of the balance, I guess. I don't know. But I was working on a Vaccines record, and Pepe was just immediately so kind, and that's kind of how we met, and it started. On that trip, Vaccines were playing a gig in Paris, and we had this amazing tour guide, and he said, "Do you know who Juan Gabriel is?" I said, "No." So he took me to Juan Gabriel's house. I started listening to his music, and it's kind of stayed my favorite music. But then COVID happened, and everything locked down. As soon as lockdown happened, we moved. My family, my dad has a house in Scotland, and my partner and I went there with our dog. I just decided to buy some music equipment, and I set it out on my family dining room table, just cheap equipment, and the songs just started appearing. So that has been one of the most interesting things I've ever experienced as an artist or a musician or anything, is that there was no mental preconception to then birth songs. It was the songs materialize, and then they'd like light the way on the path, and they teach me something about life.
Freddie came to me in 2019 telling me he was working on some of his own music. He had some ideas, and would I help him to explore putting them together and making the initial demos for the songs to help him get his writing together. And we started producing them up, working out of Metropolis Studios in London at first. And then we were hit by COVID. And when COVID hit, it really changed how we were working together, because instead of being in the same room discussing about how a piece might go, Freddie would send me quite formed ideas, which I would put into my laptop sitting at the kitchen table and start to arrange, add sounds, put some drums in, start to put the sounds together and come up with what we discussed as being the sound of the album.
Buenas tardes, nosotros Rosy vamos a tocar unas canciones para ustedes. Gracias.
Yeah, well, so Freddie came over. I was actually working with another version of this band, and it wasn't the people I have now, and he just came over to listen to some of the stuff and see what we were doing. And I don't think he really realized the depth of my depraved guitar collection. So he kind of had a good time, and so he told me that he had a desire to make this solo project, and that he had played me a few riffs and some of the song ideas that he had in the beginning, and it was just blew my mind. And then he said, well, maybe I could come over here and work on some stuff if you've got some free time in the studio. I said, sure, we're not using it every day, and why don't you come in And so he did, and he brought a friend of his with him who's a co-writer and an engineer, and that was Alan. And that's how we sort of all met. And then this project started to gain shape and get some momentum. And Freddie came to me and talked to me about, do I want to go farther with him on this project and get more involved and really get this thing off the ground? And I said, yeah, sure.
Pues va muy bien. Hoy conocimos apenas al muchacho, al buen Freddie. Y esta pasada que le dimos a la rola es la primera juntos, ¿no? Ya le habíamos dado nosotros a una maqueta, pero no la entendíamos. Y hasta ahora creo que ya la entendimos.
Sí, pues teníamos un demo y en los ensayos habíamos ahí tocado como con la grabación, pero estábamos esperando como la versión final real y pues ahorita está caminando muy chido.
Sí, pues, se siente un poco el proceso creativo, ¿no? Eso yo creo que es importante. Y obviamente pues ensayar con una grabación hecha como rápido, o un boceto, ¿no? Sería en el dibujo, y ya escucharlo con él y sus ideas más claras, pues ayuda bastante, y creo que vamos progresando muy bien. Bastante rápido hemos ido sacando la rola y pues se siente el power.
Y ahora lo que está chingón, que a mí me gustó mucho, es como que ese güey lo tiene muy claro. O sea, trae muy bien claro lo que quiere. Está bien chingón. Pero también lo más verga de esto es mi primera vez con estos dos monstruos tocando, ¿entiendes? Entonces ya este güey lo conozco hace mucho, él lo acabo de conocer, pero pues está bien chido la banda que se armó, que se armaron.
Un fuerte aplauso para Freddie and The Scenarios.
Gracias, Pepe. Thank you, everyone, so much for coming. And this is a great honor. The album actually started at WeRock downstairs, and here we are. Thank you. We good?
As well as for Freddie has been a magical spiritual journey, as well as has been for me. We obviously connect 3 years ago, when he was visiting Mexico. And then when during the pandemic, we interchanged a couple of messages, and then he told me about his new project and his intentions of launching it from Mexico and doing incorporating Mexican music players to finish the album. So we started, like bouncing ideas, and it was very refreshing to be on the same page, because every time we were talking about how we could, doing this or that, we found ourselves, in the same mindset, which is, I should say, is not the usual way to do it nowadays. We're taking a slightly different approach. I helped Freddie to contact Mexican musician players, and we got the band, we started rehearsing, and it was very exciting because we didn't knew what was going to happen, and if the band will be good or not, and tons of things. So we start to doing the all the preparation stuff, and then 2 weeks ago that it seems like a year.
My name's Don Monks. I'm a record producer and engineer, and we're here today recording horns for Freddie's record, and yeah, we're having a lovely time. Well, I suppose it started with we tracked all this record, where I live in the West Country in England, and Freddie had a vision for he wanted specifically Mexican horns, and he also wanted a mariachi section. And he said, "Is there anyone who can do that thing and that sound, where I live in England?" And I was like, "No. If you want that, you got to go get it." I guess by doing this, he's surrounding himself with the people and the sounds that inspired him to write the music. And so rather than go find some other people to kind of fill those frequencies, he's come back to what inspired him in the first place to write, and has brought those people back around him. So yeah, I think it's I think it's a beautiful thing. What he's trying to say and where he is on his own path, and the honesty he's bringing to the table was something that was easy to get behind.
And then another part of that story is on the flight to Juarez. I've told you the story, but I was sitting in the front row of economy, and Diego Herrera from Cafines was playing the same festival. He was sitting in the back row, and they took my guitar from me, and he said, "Dude, don't let them take your guitar. They break your guitar, so please let me take it for you." He rearranged all the bags in first class, and we became friends, and we were supposed to meet for lunch, but I got food poisoning, so he took me to hospital instead. I thought, this guy's amazing. We stayed in touch, and in lockdown, when I was in Scotland, I started emailing him, and we started collaborating.
Y empezamos a textear y mandarnos, oye, me gustarían unos metales, ¿no? Entonces yo empecé a hacer el arreglo de esto que estamos haciendo acá. Y todo el demás cotorreo ya fue por mail y por mandarnos audios y a ver, hice esto, te late, no sé qué, ¿no? Y bueno, pues también estoy muy contento. A mí las rolas me encantaron, ¿me entiendes? Tienen una armonía bestial, ¿me entiendes? Es muy rico musicalmente el asunto. Y había chance como para explayarse con los fierros y hacer más cosas de arreglos de metales. Entonces, pues yo estoy muy contento, ¿no? Vamos a ver qué hacen después ahora con todo esto que se van a llevar. Tiene su taco al pastor, tiene su enchilada, ¿me entiendes? Yo supongo que era lo que buscaban, ¿no? Y bueno, además yo un sonido inglés, pues no sé ni cómo hacerlo, ¿me entiendes? Entonces había la parte como de, pues, no sé, yo pensé que lo que quería era mexicanizarlo de alguna manera.
That bass line's pretty cool for the whole thing. Yeah, like this whole trip so far, it's really surreal, like being in the studio the other day with Diego and meeting Moses and Dan, and it's like, it's all been so effortless and so easy, even though on paper it's incredibly huge, complex, like lots of people, lots of moving parts. you know, essentially we're going on tour in Mexico this week, next week. I don't know if you know what dharma is. It's like I think it's a Hindu saying, it's an Indian saying about if you find your calling, it doesn't feel like, because it's what all you think about and it's what you put, it's your soul, it's what you're supposed to be doing. So things just kind of unfold. And people come into your life to tell you, not directly, but indirectly, that, hey, this is the right path, this is the right thing. You don't know exactly what it's for, what it means, but you know that you're going somewhere to do something important, which is what I feel about this record. Like it's not about making a record just to make music or to tour or anything. It's about, I don't even know what the purpose of it is quite yet, but I think it is about just healing and lifting. It's like spiritual music.
This one is called Cycling.
For me, the really important things in life are about growth. I think that's really what makes us feel alive. It's not acquisition, and it's not kind of executing plans for the sake of executing them. It's like, what does it do to your soul and you're on your journey? And do you feel like you're growing? And then I think if you feel like you're growing, you feel really alive, which is why you might have a period that's a really difficult period, but you might look back at it, like lockdown was really difficult, you know, financially, just had no idea what was going to happen. The whole thing was just falling apart. But I look back at it as some of the best time of my life because of what I learned and what I had to grow through. And I feel the same about the last 3 weeks we've had here. You know, we didn't really know what it was going to look like. We didn't really know what was going to happen, but I'm leaving, when I get on the flight back to London on Sunday, I'm going to leave here a different person.